Uh-oh.
It's a pandemonium.
It's a panini.
No.
It's a pandemonium.
Ooh, I forgot about that one.
Was that one?
I don't know. Yeah, Pandemic Lovato. Yeah.
Was that one? I'm stressed.
Happy 5-year anniversary of the pandemic.
Fuck me. That's so crazy. And I also can't believe we're making an episode about this. I think I just died. Great. Perfect. The end.
I know you're fucked up. I'm just a loser.
Oh,
Shouldn't be with
fuck
ya.
are you doing?
Guess I should quit. Yeah.
Ew, stop.
That was the song of the pandemic. That's when I think of the pandemic. That's the song that I think of.
And meal pops.
Zoo, zoo, zoo. Zoo, zoo, zoo.
Oh my God. 2020 was a foul year to be alive.
But also kind of iconic.
At the beginning, I had fun.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it wasn't so bad. And then we were going into the summertime, I guess. So it was fine-ish. It was afterwards.
Oh my
we'll
God.
get to it.
So we decided that in honor of the 5-year anniversary, honor of what we all went through as a society, collectively, traumatically, we went through a pandemic, and we're going to go through our experience of the pandemic and how that was for us 5
years ago.
Years
it was
ago.
5 years ago.
Time is crazy because
Oh my God.
no, that was yesterday. That was last year actually that the pandemic happened.
No, it's crazy.
And now it's 5 years ago that it started.
2020 was 5
Where
years
were
ago.
you when the first tower fell?
Oh my God. I came home from school, actually. I remember turning, my mum had the news on, and then I was like, what the fuck is going on? That's so crazy.
That's so funny that you came home for school, but I
Crazy.
was still in school when the tower fell.
It's almost as if time zones are absolutely crazy.
Crazy. So let's talk about 9/11 instead.
Oh my God, imagine. This episode's about 9/11.
That's when we're running out of ideas, you will get an episode entirely based on 9/11.
It's wild. That is a wild way to start an episode.
And the Pentagon.
Okay, fuck me. Okay, fuck.
So-
Welcome back to Let's Dig In, where we're your hosts and you just get what you get. You came to our house.
That is the worst introduction for our podcast.
You just came
We're
to
your hosts, and you get what you get.
Yeah, I think that's basically the gist of the show.
Okay.
You've come to our house and I'm serving you up a plate of
Not
this is what I could do. And here's the conversation, the titillating conversation
titties.
to keep you entertained.
Titties.
The titillating conversation to keep you entertained through your meal.
Let's dig in. The year was
No,
2020.
It was 2020, but we just started the year off in Miami. We were on that brand trip with Levi's.
Yeah. Oh, the year was starting off great.
The year. Let's talk.
This is why I will never say that a year is going to be my best year ever, or like this year is going to be the best. This year is going to be like my year. I will never say that again because I said that about 2020. I remember going in from 2019 to 2020. I was like 2020, 2019. I don't know if it was that great. I don't think maybe it wasn't amazing.
2019 was fine.
It was fine.
The
But I was
2020 we were like,
it's going to be
it was
great.
like off almost a year and a half, actually almost 2 years into living in Toronto.
Yeah.
We just started forming like great
We were in
friends.
Canada.
We just started forming like a friendship group and we were like, oh, this is great. Our social lives are like thriving. We're really like succeeding in our careers. Like our careers are like really taking off. It's 2020 and oh my God, this feels like such a incredible time to be alive. And
Yeah.
it's the year 2020.
Yeah.
We started off New Year's with our friends. Like we had such a cute, like wholesome dinner. And then like we wrote our like goals down and we talked about them. And then we celebrated the new year coming in. And then we went out and got shit-faced.
Yeah.
And that was excellent. It was an excellent start to the year. And we were like, the world is just looking up.
Yeah.
And then we went to...
You never say that.
No.
You never say that.
Because you never know. You could get hit by a fucking bus.
Or a pandemic, or both.
It might as well have been both.
I wish I got hit by a bus during the pandemic. Buff.
Both. Would have been a little bit more exciting. Fucking hell.
Oh, and we had just started on TikTok in October of 2019. Right before the pandemic. And I think we had like our views were coming in.
Yeah.
We were getting views. And then we had this Levi's brand trip to Miami in January of 2020.
Which was so sick.
so sick. We saw Khalid,
Yeah.
who was our favorite artist at the time.
He was.
Where'd he go? Miss him.
He's gay now.
Ah,
Yay.
thank God. Gay now.
He's gay now.
He's gay now.
Yay.
We had this brand trip with Levi's to Miami. And I was like, this is a great start to the year. Everything is amazing.
I really feel like I'm coming into my own.
Yeah.
Success is within grasp.
Yeah.
I'm being recognized for my accomplishments as a content creator.
Yeah.
And I get to go on cool brand trips. And I think that's I think that's incredible.
This is a motto for life. Don't get too excited.
Don't get too excited. Because then when we were away, there was like rumblings.
Well, we were in Florida, which is that's one of the epicenters in the U.S. of like where it started.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's Florida, obviously. And I remember getting home after that trip. I had a sickness. This is before COVID was declared or anything. This is before it was like talked about, before March, because March is when it started. January, we got back from this Levi's trip, and I was the most sick I've ever been in my fucking life. I was on my deathbed for a whole week, and looking back on it, I was like, was I one of the patient zeros?
That was like end of January that year.
Yeah.
And it wasn't declared.
But it was there.
It wasn't declared a national.
A pandemic.
Was it called? What was it declared?
A pandemonium.
No, it was declared like a national health. No, it was declared. Can I speak? It was a pandemic. It wasn't declared.
Exactly.
It wasn't declared like a worldwide.
Global pandemic.
Global pandemic. That was the words. Global pandemic. In these unprecedented times, you guys.
Exactly.
In these unprecedented times. If you are here and you don't want to listen to us ramble on about the pandemic, I don't care. That's what we're going to do.
You're going to deal with it.
We're going to make light of a really difficult situation, and hopefully we can bond together. Come into the inner circle and bond with us.
And it's a trauma dump, so dump your own traumas on us too.
Yeah, please.
We got back and I had that sickness and I was like, oh my God, I fucking had COVID.
I think I got sick.
You also got sick too. No, we were both on our deathbeds.
Yeah.
I remember.
But this was like late January, early February.
Right before. And I was like, okay, that was weird. That was weird that I got really, really sick after this.
I was still out and about. I was like doing my shit.
Obviously.
Because COVID wasn't a thing yet.
No. And then what day was it? What was the actual day? March?
I think March 12th.
12th? Yeah, okay.
13. I think it was like March 12th it was like declared a global catastrophe.
Okay, the day was March 12th.
No, it wasn't, because we've skipped a couple days. We got invited to this drag brunch.
Oh, yeah.
And
it was a Sunday.
This was a Sunday before it was declared a global pandemic. I think it was the Monday. I think it might have been like the 11th or the 12th or something of March. And I was like, I really want to go to this drag brunch. We were invited by this brand.
I think it was a nice day. I think
it was a great
really
day.
Good
It was like, if you know anything about Toronto, like it's just the weather's garbage from November until May.
Yeah.
And so we had like a really nice March day, and I was like, I really want to go out and get shit-faced. I really want to get day drunk. This would be so fun.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, there's rumblings, and people are like, oh, maybe you shouldn't go out. Like, people are getting sick and stuff. So I feel like that's like a thing. And I was like, do you know what? If this is the last day I get to do this, then like,
we're going to go out with a bang.
Let me go out and have a good day. And the bar was half full.
No, it was a third full. Like there was important point. It was a barbecue joint where this drag show was happening.
Where there was like a bunch of queens from Canada's Drag Race who, like, obviously Canada's Drag Race hadn't come out yet. But what was her name? Boa? Bitch on arrival. That's what it stands for. Did you know that?
Queen.
Yeah.
Queen.
Have you seen what she looks like now?
Yeah, she's skinny as fuck.
Incredible.
Period.
So yeah, we went to go see them. Obviously, they had a show to put on. And I was like, I'm gonna go support my queen.
It was us and it was us, our two friends, and then two other groups of middle-aged women, and that was it. I think it was 15 people max inside.
No, that's true. It was 15 people. Dull. I think there was like maybe 4 or 5 tables.
And then I remember the manager or the owner or someone of the bar was like, it was like an intermission or something, or afterwards, I think. And she was speaking really loudly, and she was like, they're going to fucking close the bars. They're going to shut everything down. How dare they? This is so stupid. And then we got home, or the next day.
It was the next morning.
Next morning.
We woke up hungover, and we had the TV on, and Justin Trudeau, that little wet blanket, goes on the fucking news, and he's like, this is now, I'm speaking to my fellow Canadians. It's time to come home. And I was like, this is really crazy. To witness that like speech and that like declaration of an emergency was crazy.
We were glued to the television
But at the
screen.
same time, I was like, this is crazy and so exciting.
Exciting.
It was exciting.
Imagine being excited that they're going to close the borders.
But then we
as important note that we are not permanent residents of Canada. We were on visas. At the
we were
time.
both on work visas. So if we left the country, we wouldn't be allowed back in because we weren't permanent residents, or
they were only letting citizens or permanent residents in.
And I don't know if you know anything about Toronto's pandemonium. Like Ontario was
so
strict.
Let's talk about the first couple of weeks before we got into.
Oh, it was amazing! Oh my God, I loved it. It was so good. Why was like Parker Posey? Oh my God,
it was so good.
It was so good.
It was really fun, actually. The first couple of weeks. We were like,
I really enjoyed. As you heard last week, I really enjoyed moving the couch to one side and jumping up and down, watching an Instagram live of a random fucking workout video, and I was like, "This is pretty fun. I love it."
We all thought back in
2 weeks max.
Yeah, we were like, it's gonna be 2 weeks, maybe a month max.
No, there was no month max.
We were like 2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks max.
We said 2 weeks. They're gonna fucking nip this in the bud. Is that a saying?
Nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud.
I sometimes say nip it in the butt.
Do you know what?
Nip it in the butt.
Nip it in the bud. Do you know when you like chop a bud from flowering before it flowers?
Oh, is that what that's from?
I think so. Nip
Okay.
it in the bud. That makes sense to me.
Nip it. What is nip?
Cut.
Nip is weird word. So it's like they're gonna nip it in the bud and they're gonna be done with it. Didn't get done with it. 2 years later, flash forward. So the first 2 weeks were cutesy. We were working out. We were trying to we were cooking at home. They had closed everything, I guess. They had grocery stores. People were buying toilet paper left and right.
Oh my god, the toilet paper. The
remember
toilet
that?
paper thing. Oh
You
my god.
remember
I mean,
that?
like, I wish I didn't. The toilet paper thing was crazy.
That was so embarrassing.
Also,
for
like
us.
having to go to the grocery store, like, because they're still open. I remember also my mum was like, you need to go to the grocery store and stockpile 3 weeks to a month's worth of supplies. And I was like,
No.
so I'm not going to do that, but you can. And she did. Because
She did?
she's a freak.
Oh.
If my mum ever listens to this, she'd be like, I disown you. I love my mum, but
You do talk a lot of shit about her.
Yeah, do that to her. I love her. She's a little bit insane though.
For sure.
And I love her.
Where do you think you got it from?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is...
Why were we buying toilet paper?
No, I didn't panic buy anything.
But why were we buying toilet paper of all things? Like, if you run out of toilet paper, you can use other things to wipe if you like, worst comes to
Did
worst.
we have our tushies then?
But like, what if you...
No, we got tushies in the pandemic.
We got tushies in the pandemic.
That was a pandemic thing.
But at the end of the day, you should be stockpiling food in case food goes awry.
Yeah.
You know?
Awry.
I don't fucking know. So they closed down everything in Toronto. Everything was closed.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you.
something?
That first 6 months is a little bit of a blur.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't do anything. That's why.
Yeah.
'Cause we didn't do anything.
It's March, April, May, June. Okay, April, May, June, July, August, September. So that's 6 months. We did have kind of a fun summer.
That was the start of the summer,
our
so like the weather was good.
Bubbles. So
Oh,
like you could
bubbles.
sit
Oh.
in like circles at the park.
So the interesting thing is that Toronto took the idea of the circles in the park, the like socially distanced circles where you could sit with 4 people. We took that from San Francisco. SF started that.
Yeah, they did it at Dolores Park.
Yeah, they started at Dolores Park, and then we took that idea and put it in
At Bellwoods.
Trinity Bellwoods.
Yeah, the people were like at Bellwoods Park, and I was like, why are we sat in circles? This
like
is
chalked on the ground.
so fucking
Looking
lame.
back, hello.
stupid. Also, like, if we have common sense, also now that knowing the things that we know, knowing the things that we know, knowing what we know, everything we did was pointless.
Totally.
It made no difference.
We've seen it. We've seen the difference. not being
You've
made.
seen the data. It made no
The
difference.
data is there. Like
Yeah,
Texas
I
and
know.
Florida, they didn't fucking do
But
anything.
we were
and
so...
it was all the same.
I think because we had a really, really strict...
Us too.
Both of us. We had a really strict experience with COVID. We really did spend a lot of time in the first like couple months like isolated. We like stopped going to the gym. Like you worked out outside, and I like tried. I think I bought a bench and like some random weights, and I was
We
like,
bought a
this
bench and weights, and those were sold out for so long. I think we were like one of the last ones.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's
I,
good.
I was like, we have to get on this right now.
Yeah.
Let's buy a bench on Amazon.
I was like, we were trying to make the best out of a bad situation, but it just turned out really
It's
depressing.
just you can only move your furniture so much every day without wanting to.
And we were also living, just to describe our living situation, we were in a typical Toronto
Oh my god, our apartment
two-bedroom
was the
apartment.
size of this living room.
Yeah.
Our entire apartment was the size of this living room.
Yeah. If you live in Toronto or know about Toronto, then you know it's like condo, concrete central with just like windows and gray, and that's it. So it was like a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. The ceiling was so low, and we had a balcony, but like, how often do you use a balcony in
No, it
Toronto?
was huge.
Yeah.
I think we did quite a bit.
Yeah, but
We
like
did quite a bit.
not for most of the year, for like a
No,
portion of the year.
From June to September.
So that first period was, I said that's where I get like most of my weight.
No.
That's my depression.
It's not.
Was it not?
It's not. You're
Was that
incorrect.
second wave?
Yes.
Oh, it was number 2.
You're incorrect. Now, I don't remember a lot, but I remember that.
So March to September,
Yes.
we were having a summer. We were having a
Yes.
good time. I think I was actually fine then.
In the first year, so between March, pandemic started, and August, we just were doing nothing other than like posting videos on TikTok. We gained like
yes.
500,000 followers on TikTok. So
Yes.
I'm saying career-wise, for a lot of people actually, COVID pushed you in like the trajectory of most people's like social media careers would not have been the way that they were if it wasn't for the pandemic. A fucking dreadful time.
Totally, but 2020 was really what catapulted us
because I don't know if you also remember, August of that first year, 2020, was when we did that billboard campaign with TikTok Canada. So TikTok Canada, they reached out to 6 creators in Canada, and we were one of them as like up and coming stars.
Because they just opened the TikTok Canada office.
Yeah, and then they did like a billboard, like a huge billboard campaign, like it was nationwide, and we were like featured on billboards on Yonge and Dundas Square. It was crazy. And then they went live in November of that year, and the photos from that November, we look snatched still.
Yeah,
we look great.
Okay.
It wasn't until the following year that I drank 2 bottles of wine a day.
I define those years in my life whether I was like fat or not.
Yeah, no, yeah, me too. Anything about 2020 you want to add?
2020, no, it's like culturally defining though. We had a lot of moments.
I feel moments. Oh my God, we bought a van. I completely missed that.
That's crazy. So we bought, it was in that moment.
No, it was in your moment. You dumbass.
You agreed with it.
My mum just sold her house the house that we grew up in, and I used the money that she gave me to buy a van.
So you like to go retrospectively and say that it wasn't your decision as well, but we decided together because this is in the era of like camper vans and like going off the grid.
TikTok. His entire TikTok feed was
Camper vans.
Van life.
Van life.
Hashtag van life 2020. And it was, honestly, it was pretty cool. The gadgets and the gizmos that you can put in a van. So cool. We made the decision to buy a van in like, I want to say September of that year.
Yeah, the end of summer.
And it was at the end of summer.
Because everything about us screams people who know how to do manual labor.
Camping? Camping. Our best friend in Toronto, she's a camper. Her and her husband, they are campers.
We are not campers.
We are not campers. We tried.
Look at us.
We tried.
Look at us.
Ew. I'm so sorry.
We weren't even camping. We were inside a van. So we weren't even technically like camping. We had a bed. But the thing was, we bought this.
Having to wake up in the middle of the night to go and pee. And then we had a little like weird little toilet.
So I found a camper van on Kijiji. Whoa. I forgot about that.
Oh my God, that just triggered me.
We found a camper van on Kijiji.
Which is like Craigslist.
It's like a Craigslist of Canada. And it was a Ford E250.
God, everything in Canada is lame, isn't it? That is so embarrassing.
Kijiji?
That is so embarrassing.
Sounds like a slur.
It does. Ew.
So it was a Ford E250 camper van. I've said that so much because we did so many TikToks on it. I was like,
how do you remember that?
Because one of our videos came up recently and it was like a year or 2 or 3 ago. And it was like, hi, we're Matt and Omar. And we just bought a Ford E250 camper van.
Ew.
I was like, what was I trying to be? With like nice like vlog music behind it. I was like, hello. Exactly. And it was already redone. We bought it for $20,000 Canadian dollars. Sounds like a lot. Actually like a good price for the redone camper van. And it had a bed that was too small for both of us.
Yep.
Because we are tall people, and I think it was 5 foot. I think it was a 5 foot double bed because it had to fit in like a worker van. It was like a
but it
white
also wasn't
van.
like long, like lengthways of the van. It was like short ways from the van.
Yes.
And how do I describe that in audio form? Because obviously I just gave a visual representation of what that looks like. The bed was not the length of the van. It was the width of the van.
Yes.
So from wall to wall, not from like trunk to front seat.
Yes.
So that's not a big space for 2 grown adult men.
Yeah, it was tiny.
We'll get to my non-binary phase in a second.
Oh my God.
Wait, so much happened.
Okay, stick on the van.
So much happened.
Table the non-binary shit. We'll stick on the camper van shit. We were so fucking weird.
Oh my
God. We were weird. Camper vans and blue-haired liberals.
Oh my God.
Camper van had solar power. It had running water. It had a sink.
Not for long.
Not for long. So as soon as anything went wrong, we went on a few trips. We went on a few trips with it.
Do you know why that happened? The sink worked. There was a faucet that like ran water.
Yeah.
But we started camping in like September, October, November.
In Canada.
December.
When
and we're like
cold.
going into like rural Ontario. And there are no facilities. There are no... Open your ears when I say this. There are no facilities for camping in the winter.
So when anything would break or the water would freeze, so we didn't have any water.
We should have I'm like, why is the water not coming out of the guy? I can't brush my teeth because it's frozen. into a cinder block.
So needless to say, we didn't know what was happening with most of it. And then we stopped using the water. The solar probably needed to fix. The engine ran out because we were gone when we went to 2021. This is the end of the camper story. 2021, we went to Mexico for 6 weeks. We left the camper van.
We were like allowed to travel for the first time. We were like, I'm going to Mexico. Fuck you.
Yeah, so we fucked off to Mexico for 6 weeks, left the camper van on the street.
We had parking inside our building, but we couldn't use it because the van was too tall to fit inside the garage, which is
the
so
clearance
annoying.
was like 7 feet. And then
So we would like be driving around Queen West looking for parking every time we needed to use the van.
With our massive ass van.
It was ugly. It was a white...
Yeah, a white worker van.
Yeah. It was like, you want to look in my van kind of van? That's exactly the kind of van it was.
Exactly. And then...
We tried to make it nice. We did a West Elm campaign.
Oh my God.
I could talk about... Wait, we could turn your whole episode.
I forgot how much happened.
There's so much happened. We did a West Elm collaboration. Van.
We decorated...
Where we styled the van out.
Yes, with West Elm shit.
Yeah.
It
looked kind of cute.
No, it was cute. It was very bohemian. Let's say that.
I will say the photos looked really great. Practicality-wise, it was not very functional, but it looked cute.
No, we tried to hang so much shit on the walls, and it just fell off because we were in a van. Yeah,
crazy. I'm so embarrassed that we did that.
But my point was when we left it for 6 weeks, when we went to Mexico, the engine died because it was cold, and you needed to start it every so often. It wouldn't start. Had to take it to the mechanic multiple times to get it fixed. Had so many issues with it.
We had to get it towed that time.
We had to get it towed that time because we couldn't fucking move it.
Yeah,
because we were idiots. Like, we didn't know anything about cars. Do I know anything about a car?
No. We have an electric car now. I don't know anything about it.
Exactly. I don't need to.
The, wiper thing was on for 7 months. And I was like, let me figure out how to put, wiper fluid in this thing. Okay. Stop yelling at me. Fuck.
And then we eventually sold it. In the camper van story, we eventually sold it for the same amount of money.
Exactly the same amount we bought it for.
$20,000.
Some random German guy.
In the north of Ontario somewhere.
Belleville.
In Belleville, Ontario.
Bellevue?
Belleville. I drove it up to Belleville.
And took the GO train back.
He gave me a check for 20,000 Canadian dollars. Was it 20,000?
It was 20,000 Canadian
dollars.
That's
crazy.
We sold it for exactly how much we got it for.
It was not... I'm sorry if the German guy's listening.
No, I know.
It was not worth that.
I know. Sorry, we scammed you.
Sorry, girl. I didn't scam. I put it up for $20,000 and he took it for $20,000. Yeah. And I said there was work that needed to be done and he took it.
And do you know what the thing is? We'll call that a slight investment on return.
Because then we got the money back.
We put down 20,000 and we got exactly as much as we paid for it back.
It was a savings account.
Exactly. Go us. Wow, we're so smart. Should we buy another van?
No. Now, what about this non-binary bullshit?
Hey!
I'm kidding.
The pandemic started. And if you or anyone or a loved one
were affected by
non-binary, you may be entitled to compensation.
Wait, that's too funny. That was a good one. I'm keeping it. Oh my God, okay. You can joke about it. This is your experience.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you can joke.
I lived as a they them for a second.
More than a second.
So the pandemic came about and TikTok, my For You page was very, hey, do you think you might be different from everyone else around you? If so, you could be non-binary.
It's like a PSA that went out to everyone.
No, literally. It's like indoctrination. And I was like, that's true. It might be.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll get to it probably in another episode if we want to talk about that, gender identity, exploration of that.
Exploration.
Not my exploration.
You said the expiration of my gender identity.
Yeah, no. I really leaned into it. I found this community online and I really was like, whoa, this is crazy. And I did a lot of learning because I had nothing else to do other than consume content. And then I was fully immersed into the non-binary world. I've always had these emotions and feelings. The coming out episode, I was talking about how when I was first as a child discovering sexual attraction, I was like, maybe I'm supposed to be a woman because I have these feelings and I don't know what gay means yet. So that's just the only way I can identify that in my head. Turns out I just like boys and I was a boy. And then in the pandemic, I was like, I think I'm non-binary because I don't really feel like I've always 100% identified as male, but I've never identified as female. But also, I don't think not male and female, but like boy and girl in the way that gender is, because I do feel like gender is a spectrum, or like gender expression is a spectrum. In the pandemic, I swung that pendulum to the left. Swung it. No, I fucking what's that thing that Miss Trunchbull does in Matilda? The shot put.
Yeah.
I fucking shot put that pendulum all the way to the blue-haired bitch side. And I did. I dyed my hair lavender.
You did. You were a blue-haired liberal.
Yeah. I really was.
Blue-haired they, them liberal.
And I was a barista at one point.
Oh
so
my God.
The cliches kept cliché.
You honestly just had to fill that role
and
for
I
a
think
second.
as well, like in my mind, I think this is a lot. I feel like a lot of non-binary people experience when they first like figure out or like want to explore gender identity away from like the social norm. They lean heavily the opposite way. And I was like practicing like makeup for the first time and like wearing clothes that I never would have worn before. And it took a long time to figure out my fashion. Don't scroll back, you heathens.
Scroll back.
Don't. I deleted everything. I deleted it all.
Scroll back on the TikTok.
Don't. No, don't do that, you fuck. You little fuck.
They're still. I'm not deleting those.
You little fucker.
I'm not scrolling back all the way.
You little fucker.
It's way hard to scroll down on TikTok all the way than it is for
You
Instagram.
post every fucking second.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had that moment, and
Yeah, Little House on the Prairie.
yeah, I did wear like a little frock here and there.
Your fashion, I would describe.
Everyone did that.
No,
like
I
a little
know.
like a little peasant witch. Everyone dressed like a little peasant witch at one point or another during the pandemic. Okay,
It was just the frocks. It was the frocks. I know.
You even.
I experimented as well.
Mine was like full witch peasant from Salem witch trials, but in the middle of being burnt at the stake. That is exactly how I dressed. That was my aesthetic for like most of 2020. Also, I bought an
Maxi skirt.
iPad and I was like, I illustrate now. Do you remember that?
very millennial illustrations.
No, I was like, let me buy an iPad and trace things. Let me get like a picture, and then what's the fucking app called that everyone the fucking drawing app?
InDesign.
No. There's like every little millennial girlie will just buy an iPad and
just
download
draw.
this one. It's like a,
I don't know.
It's one app. I fucking can't remember it, but it's a great app. And I'd be like, I'm an artist, and I'd like trace shit. But we sold some stuff. We sold t-shirts. I actually did design those t-shirts.
Gay ass merch for a second.
We had gay ass merch, and then I had phone cases I designed
Yeah.
and sold those.
Wow.
So you could say I really was broadening my horizons in 2020.
We were experimenting. It was an experimenting time. It was a time for experimentation.
Honestly, was it that bad? Actually, no.
It was bad when we got fat.
Yeah. 2021 was bad.
Yeah.
2022. No shit. 2020 was
2020 was good.
pretty okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
2021 was when things got.
We also like stopped making money in 2020. Like we stopped getting campaigns.
Yeah, I guess
because
so.
no one was doing campaigns. So like,
No, I guess that first 6 months of the pandemic, we weren't making any money.
No.
But I will say,
What?
one thing happened.
What?
All of a sudden, I think this specifically happened in Canada. I think it happened like in North America, but I think specifically in Canada, everyone was all about their diversity. All of a sudden, everyone was like, wait, we should hire not white people all the time.
Yeah.
Which was a crazy concept.
This was during like
Imagine.
2020 was
I
Black
think
Lives
this was
Matter protesting.
Yeah.
So.
And so people were like, let's pay people
Yep.
fairly and let's
Yep.
like maybe diversify our entire teams. And then all of a sudden all these stories were coming out. And like, I remember I wrote a story about like my old workplace. A girl at my old job in Toronto, she was like looking for stories because she wanted to write a think piece
Yeah.
on our old hotel. And I was like, I got quite the story for you.
About the mistreatment.
Yeah.
of POC.
Mistreatment of anyone who wasn't white. Yes.
I was like, you didn't say why.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, I did in my head. So towards the end of 2020, I started seeing an increase in earnings all of a sudden. And that was crazy. So by 2021, this was when I was like fully in my like blue head bitch. Blue head 2021, blue head bitch, but drinking a bottle of wine at least 2 bottles of wine every single night.
Yeah.
And gaining weight and dressing like a honestly, like a 1920s midwife.
But the brand saw you and they said, tick that box, tick that box, tick that box.
A brown, non-binary, ex-Muslim. Oh my god, I could keep going with the
Everything.
with the little.
Identities?
Yeah, maybe identities.
All the identities.
All of them, collecting them like Pokemon.
Canada was, and I think is, very prone to tokenism.
I fucking
Brand specifically.
girl, I know. I was like, do you know what? I'll take it. Pay me. I'll take it.
No,
Whatever.
T, you got so much money. You've got so many campaigns. I started not getting any campaigns because they were like, no white people.
2021?
They were like one white person in the campaign.
2021, I could say was probably the most depressed I've been in a really long time.
100%.
And then I gained a lot of weight and I was just like not happy. And also just like life was shit. Second wave and the lockdown was so much more intense.
Yeah.
And
winter.
And
first winter, stuck at home.
Winter stuck at home.
leave.
We couldn't leave from September of 2020 to March of 2021. We didn't leave our house. We didn't speak to a single person in face to face. We spent New Year's Eve by ourselves in our own apartment, FaceTiming with our friend.
This was during Zoom Mario Party days.
Oh my.
And like Zoom DJ sets.
Also depressing as fuck.
That was the worst. That was when I started eating a lot, drinking a lot. You started eating a lot, drinking a lot. More so drinking. I would eat so much. Because I was bored. I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Honestly, I would be like, 4 p.m. Thank fuck I can start drinking now.
Yeah.
I would be like, thank God I can start drinking now.
Yeah.
Because what else am I going to do? I'd wake up at, I don't know, 10, 11.
Make a few TikToks.
Yeah.
Put up a few videos. Don't do any work.
Start drinking again.
Nothing really meaningful. Like we were actually, I think our content
It was like a blob of a person.
We were a blob of people. We were two blobs.
Blob
we were
people.
two blobs just like blobbing together, like doing nothing. But I think our content that we made was really meaningful for people in the pandemic because it did bring a lot of positivity in a very negative time.
Totally.
People really enjoyed our British versus English challenge.
Which was, it was like our road to success, I guess.
I think you said rotisserie. I was like, what are you talking about rotisserie for? It was our road to success. I don't know. That was our road to success. Yeah.
No, that sounded like rotisserie.
Road to success.
We should have a little rotisserie, like a fake one.
Chicken?
A little rotisserie chicken in the middle of the table, just so we can have something at the table.
That'd be really cute.
Should we get like a fake rotisserie chicken? Because we love rotisserie. Something about us as well. I'm about to spill some lore.
Lore?
Yeah. Whenever we say something, we say like, oh, I'm done, or something's done. We say it's chicken ready, or like it's chicken done.
Why?
I don't know why.
Why?
Oh my God.
Tell me when you're done in the shower.
Oh, the chicken's ready. Or maybe the chicken's ready. Maybe that's how it started. You'd say the chicken's ready. And then it evolved from it's chicken ready to like chicken ready. Or like if I'm done in the shower, I'd be like chicken done. And now with the Genmoji thing, I typed in chicken done on the Genmoji and it would be like a rotisserie chicken with like steam coming off of it. And I'd be like, great, that's how you know I'm done in the shower. I'll send you a rotisserie chicken with steam coming off of it. To let you know I'm done in the shower.
We are so dumb.
Chicken done.
That is so dumb.
Yeah.
I love it.
Chicken done.
Chicken done. Back to the topic at fucking hand. Jesus Christ.
Huh?
The topic at hand.
Oh, the topic at hand. I thought you said chopping the ham.
What?
I don't know what's happening.
2021. That was bad. What else? Okay. When did the pandemic end? Pandemic still hasn't ended. Wear your mask.
Shut up. No, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going back. We are not going back.
If the pandemic happens, I don't think the majority of people would be able to go through what we went through again.
No. At least we're in sunny California this time round. I have emotions and feelings. We were very also, I think because we couldn't leave the country for that long. Oh, this was the time. I don't know if you know this, but there was an Instagram account called Gays Over COVID. Gays Over COVID. That should be the episode name.
Gays Over COVID.
Gays Over COVID.
Got it. Love.
Gays Over COVID.
Yeah.
That
was a time. That was a time.
I'm dead. That was so funny.
It was the most self-righteous bullshit.
At the time, though, I was like, "Oh my God, get them, diva!"
Literally, we were very much behind
because
it.
we were also self-righteous pieces of shit.
To explain what it was an Instagram account dedicated to outing gay people who were going on vacation during COVID.
Yeah,
basically,
somewhat notable, like mini
influencers. Yeah, influencers or like people who were had presence on the internet. Or just when like a bunch of gay people would be out of the country during COVID, it would be like attack them.
A bunch of people went to PV for New Year's Eve, and like this account named and shamed them. This account went and found Venmo history because some people didn't post, but it was like public. You could make it public.
Yeah,
and was finding receipts for payments to places in PV.
I am sorry
find out that certain people were like traveling during the pandemic.
That's crazy. I'm sorry. If you have nothing better to do than sit on your little phone and call out so many people,
I wonder who that was.
What benefit is? What are you doing? What is
the
benefit?
At the time, I was like, oh my God, yeah, get them.
Yeah.
But like looking back on it now, I'm like, what the fuck?
We had
again, You need to realize our mindsets at the time were twisted.
Totally.
So we were like, this is a good thing, I think, until we realized it wasn't. It was like, this is kind of hateful and like really toxic. And it's also harming people's lives a little bit. Also, it didn't matter. Nothing mattered.
It's just mean-spirited.
No, it's really, at the end of the day, like when you really think about it and like when you like retrospectively?
Yeah.
Is that when you look at things from afterwards?
Yeah.
Fuck me. Nothing. It didn't matter. So you're being hateful for no reason. Oh, you think you're a gossip girl? Okay.
Literally.
Good job, you fucking loser.
I think we were like egging it on because I think I had so many arguments with people. I had an argument with this one influencer about it.
That went traveling? I stayed out of the drama.
I was into the drama for some reason because I think we were jealous. Honestly,
for sure,
that we couldn't leave the country and
we were
go on vacation
fat and grey and decomposing,
literally in Canada, in Toronto. And I was like,
two blob people living in an igloo. Two little blob people living in an igloo.
That was us in 2021.
And then we drink wine and cry.
And that's also the name of this podcast. No, I think that was a stupid time, and people were always looking for something to do and someone to be mad at and something to make themselves feel purposeful. Maybe that was why people attacked gay people who went to places. And I was like, what is the purpose? Anyways, you know our opinion on that it had no purpose.
That was crazy. What else happened in 2021? Oh, we got married. We got married. In the meantime, we're applying for permanent residency in Canada because we've just been applying for it for 2 years by this point. We were in the process of it at least for a good 3 years by this point.
Yeah, but then they stopped taking applications.
We were like doing the most to get there. So I think 2 years into living in Canada, not even. I think after the first year of living in Canada, we were taking actionable steps to apply for permanent residency.
Yes.
We were like going to the English test exam. We were like paying all that money to get our like degrees transcribed to the Canadian standard whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah.
We spent thousands of dollars.
Well, they stopped taking applications for about 2 years they stopped taking immigrants into the country for 2 years. And then by that time, the qualifications had changed and like our application was moot. And also, I think we decided that we did not want to live in Canada anymore. After all that experience through COVID.
I think the day that we found out that we were like there was no way for us to get permanent residency.
We'd have to do another application.
We had a year left on our visa and we were self-employed, so there was no avenue for us to do it like within the year. When we found out, I was like, okay. I was like, you were sad because I think you thought like our careers were like really thriving and whatever. But then I was like, it's actually fine. I don't think I care that much. But like our lives were settled. We had a great friendship group who are like our core friends, some of our core friends in life. Love them to death. And it was so sad to have to leave them. But isn't it so amazing that we have friends all over the world?
Yeah.
We found out we couldn't stay in the country. And then within 2 weeks, we had organized a wedding. One of the said friends, her now husband's parents offered their backyard in Guelph, Ontario. And we got our marriage license, organized everything. We could only have a group of 10.
10 total.
So us two, 7 of our friends, the officiant, and 4 of our dogs.
Got married in our best friend's husband's parents' backyard. Because she was like, I just planted flowers and we just got a pool installed and like a hot tub. And we were like, okay, let's do it.
Excellent.
I was just going to go to City Hall and just be done with it.
This was like June. It was like a beautiful day. It was like the end of June. So
really, really
Toronto, like Ontario, end of June, it was like good, like 25 degrees.
Yeah.
It was so nice. And then, we got married and then...
We're also like, we have a year left in Canada. The application process for a green card takes at least a year, most likely a year and a half, to go through all of the things. It is like the most tragic waiting game you've ever been in, waiting for a green card to this fucking country. So we knew we had to start right away. So that's why we did our marriage lessons in 2 weeks. We got married. We were like good to go.
If you don't know, Matt's from the US. We got married so I could move here.
Yeah, green card wedding, yeah. But also love. Mostly love. Like we were gonna get married eventually, but this yes.
Were we?
For tax reasons.
Oh yeah, I love tax.
I love tax. But then
I love tax because I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, you don't do the taxes. I do.
We have an accountant.
Yeah, I tell them what to do.
I've never spoken to the accountant before in my life.
It's fine.
I have these emails come in and I'm like, it says like tax or like something to do with your accountant. And I'm like, I'm ignoring that. If I don't know anything about it, it doesn't exist to me.
There is always one person in the relationship who's the financial one.
Yeah.
And that is me.
And then there's one that's the entertainer.
Exactly. You provide the substance.
Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
saying that.
You're welcome. I also provide the
For
substance.
spilling, diva.
We got married, blah, blah, blah. Moved to the US. You all know, you know the story.
Yeah.
You know
well,
that
it happened in the was a pandemic.
That was in the pandemic, yeah.
Pandemic wedding.
Yeah. Pandemic shotgun wedding.
Elopement.
That was a lot. That was a lot more than I thought.
It was a lot more. I think there's a lot more that happened too.
I think I always think of myself as 2 years younger than I am right now because those 2 years are such a blur for me.
I'm not 32.
No.
32?
I'm
is
28.
Crazy. I feel like I've just turned 30.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I think that happened for a lot of people. Like those 2 years just feel like nothing happened, but so much happened, and so much happened so that we blocked it all out because it was a traumatic time. We put that we put that in the box in the back of our heads.
In my mind, though, I do wonder, like, how life, obviously, like,
How life would have been.
big fat what if, but what would our lives look like if there was no pandemic? Because we were making new friends, we were like socializing more, like our social circle was like expanding, we were forming like really like great friendships, which ended up being long lasting friendships because the pandemic didn't stop us from keeping in touch with our closest friends. But we were like working out so well. I feel like it was the first time I was on a good trajectory with like fitness and like health and nutrition. And we went vegan that year too, 2020? No, it was 2019, beginning of 2019. We were vegan fully through the pandemic.
We were going to move to Vancouver too.
We were going to move to Vancouver. Wait, there is an alternate timeline version of us that didn't experience the pandemic. We moved to Vancouver. We got permanent residency.
Yeah.
And we live in Vancouver.
Vegan.
And we're vegan.
Blue-haired liberal.
And we're blue-haired liberal free.
We're still liberal, okay? Just to note, I'm saying blue-haired liberal because it was a fucking sound on TikTok. I'm still a liberal.
I just think it's funny.
Yeah, I think it's funny.
I just think it's funny.
I just need to note, unless someone comes into this podcast and is the first thing they listen to, and they're like, these conservative gays. And I'm like, that's not me, baby. No. It's just a joke. But that would be an alternate timeline. And
that is the alternate timeline.
Vegan, living in Vancouver, permanent residents of Canada.
And just like constantly wet from the rain.
Ugh.
I know.
You hate your hair being wet.
I know. I am
Why
well
were we
aware.
going to move to Vancouver?
I'm well aware.
You're from the UK.
I am well aware.
You were like, I am fine with the rain because
I'm not
I
even
lived
from
in the UK.
I'm from Manchester. It's like one of the rainiest places in the UK.
Vancouver's more rainy.
No, I know. I remember I googled it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they get like the same amount of rain.
And you're like, I can.
Whenever
deal with it.
sometimes I like to just see like how my mum is experiencing the day, and we'll just like check the weather in Manchester. Rain.
Yeah.
5 degrees.
Great.
Celsius.
Stunning.
Fuck. Those people exist in the world in another timeline.
Parallel universe.
Yeah. And we're here.
Those people.
But I don't think, okay, we were already starting TikTok. And I feel like, I don't know if TikTok itself would have had this humongous explosion
without the pandemic.
If it wasn't for the pandemic and people having nothing to do. I don't think it would have seen that many users in that short of a time period.
Totally. I don't think it would have succeeded. It might have been fine. Like it might have been like...
What was that one app?
Which one?
When we were in Europe, we in the limbo period between us moving out of Canada and moving into the US, we had to go to Europe for a little bit because our visas in Canada expired and I had to wait for the US embassy to invite me for an interview in London. And so we were just like in limbo in Europe.
Yeah.
And which is a very fine place to be in limbo.
Yeah.
And we downloaded this app and it was like, be real.
Oh my
Be
God.
real. This is
People
2020 now.
still use that?
This is 2022 now.
Yeah, this is 2022 when Be Real happened. Be Real?
Because when did like officially pandemic like rules end?
2022.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because I remember like my birthday is on the 1st of June and 2020 my birthday was shit. 2021 my birthday was shit. But 2022 I turned 30 and my birthday was excellent. And we went out. And we saw the sunrise, and it was a great birthday.
It was lifting because I think you still had to. We were in Italy that one time, and then you still had to wear a mask on the train in 2022.
I think some European cities.
Yeah, so it was like lifting, and like mostly things were like going back to normal.
Because I also think our flight from Toronto to wherever the fuck we flew, I think we flew to Edinburgh.
Had to wear a mask.
We had to wear a mask on that plane.
Wearing a mask. We didn't even talk about masks.
Masks.
The acne that I got from my mask. Unparalleled. The disgusting nature of a fabric mask. Like, yeah, you can wear an N95. I wasn't going to wear an N95. I was going to wear a fabric mask because that's what everyone was wearing. Or I could wear like a bejeweled mask like Lana Del Rey.
What did I say? Oh.
Cunty move.
People thought that was a fake mask.
It was a real mask.
She was wearing a layer underneath. Leave my girl alone.
She was just looking cunty.
I know. People tried to cancel her for it.
This is the era of people canceling everyone.
I know. Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. Horrible.
Should we talk about that in one episode? That's funny.
That's a whole ass episode.
That's funny.
We can delve into so much in separate episodes. When you dig back into it, it's like there's so many things that you forgot about or that you blocked out. And you're like, whoa, I forgot we had a camper van. Her name was Ophelia.
Her name was Ophelia.
Our camper van's name was Ophelia.
We named it Ophelia.
Ophelia on wheels.
Opheels on wheels.
Shortened
for Opheels on wheels.
Opheels on wheels.
Opheels on wheels.
There's a story there. Wait, there's a story. The time that we got stuck in the mud in the camper
will
van.
kill myself.
Can we tell it?
I will. Yeah, tell it.
Can that be
tell it.
Okay, I don't know where
will
we were.
preface this story by saying this incident made me want to jump off a fucking bridge.
I think back and I cringe so hard because it was the most embarrassing shit. We were in fuck knows
we're
where.
driving to some random campground
In Ontario.
Yeah, and it just rained.
And it just rained. Okay, so it's like a storm, and then I think it was going to be nicer weather.
And I think I was using like the Wiki Camps app to like, find these like
nice campsites.
Remote campsites that have like great views or like great access to like trails or something.
Yeah.
And this one particular trail was 4-wheel drive only. And I said, Matt was driving, obviously. This was in my Passenger Princess era.
Yeah, we should have a license.
And Matt was like, I don't think we should take this van down that road. And I said, what's the worst that can happen? We got stuck in the mud. Our dog was with us in the van. It was
possibly the worst road I've ever driven on. There were holes. There was like sinkholes throughout the road, and we were like,
and it was narrow as fuck, so only like
one car could go through and back. And I would have to rev the fucking engine, go so fast through these holes full of water in the ground, get through. We had water probably in the engine, because it was very deep, and we were just going through. So
if you're that German man listening to this, no, we didn't.
No, we didn't. There was a parking lot in the front, and then this trail, and then the actual place with the good view where you would camp out was at the end of the trail.
Yeah.
Halfway through, probably.
Stuck
in the mud. The mud grabbed onto our wheels and said, I'm not letting you go. You are going to stay right here.
By the grace of Satan, another driver was coming back the other way, and we were like, we are stuck. Do you have anything that can help? He had
another choice because it was only one-way road. He couldn't get out until we got out.
Yeah, we're all stuck. So
I was like, do you have anything? I was so embarrassed.
You know what they had? They had so much stuff.
Yeah, emergency equipment.
They had something to put underneath the wheels to get the wheels out, to give the wheels traction. They had ropes and pulleys and a whole system. And all of these members of their family came out and joined them in this quest. And they felt so accomplished. I was like, you know what? Go for it.
And I was like so embarrassed because I think they were like, at the beginning, I think they were huffing puffing a little bit. They were like, you idiots. You dumb fucking gay bitches. Why the fuck are you over here?
I was like, oopsie.
I didn't know. I thought we had 4-wheel drive. We have 4 wheels.
I thought that's what that meant. Fuck.
This fucking camper van. And then we eventually got out.
We did get out.
We went back and forth a lot of times.
We went back to the We went back. There
was something rattling in the car.
And do you know what? The moment the tires were released, that was a hallelujah moment.
I was like, we're not selling this shit. We put that up on Kijiji, I think, very soon. No, we kept it.
That was...
Oh, we did keep it, yeah.
2020.
I think we didn't go on another trip until...
We didn't go on... That was traumatizing.
We paused for a while because that was horrible.
Okay, I don't want to talk about that fucking van anymore.
That was the last story about the van. And that was...
The last story about the pandemic.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything else that happened?
Girl, no, we've been going for an hour. I'm trauma dumped out.
This is when I know I need to stop because I'm like, I feel like a blob person.
How was the pandemic for you? Let us know in the comments.
Oh my God. Sorry to bring up all of this
trauma. Great. Well, if you enjoyed that episode of whatever the fuck that was, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe wherever you want to subscribe and follow us everywhere.
And I'll leave you with this. These gays are over COVID. And I ain't going back. I ain't going back there. Sometimes I love to put on this like Republican voice and just speak like a Republican would. I ain't wearing no damn mask.
It's fun to cosplay.
I love it.
Just let out the inner conservative a little bit.
Episode
as conservatives.
As a conservative?
No, because someone's going to come onto that episode and think we're conservatives.
Gays for chomp.
Gays for chomp.
Ew, ugly fucks.